Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. You've joined me for an introduction to Sales Navigator, which we'll dive into in just a few minutes. We're just going to give a couple of minutes just to let people log on and get settled. We know what it's like. Everybody's running around, grabbing a cup of tea and just getting settled and finding that link to log in. So we'll give that time. Then we'll go and dive straight into the session today. Just while we're waiting, do me a favor, pop into the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. It would be great to just see that today. If you've got any questions throughout this, please use the chat function. Throw your questions in there. We've got people on hand that will help with those questions. For me, it becomes a little bit complicated saying all the questions while presenting and doing everything else. So we will answer your questions. And any questions that you do ask that may not get answered, look, get in touch with us. Find us on LinkedIn, whatever. We're more than happy to answer your questions. So I can see we've got a few people joining us at the moment, and we're just going to give one more minute and then we're going to get started. So just while we're waiting that 1 minute, let me introduce myself. My name is Terry Heath and I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at MAVERRIK, and MAVERRIK's been partnering with Oxlip for quite some time now. We're also, as a company, one of the handful of companies globally that actually have a direct working relationship with LinkedIn. So we actually provide services to help companies with Sales Navigator, doing training and coaching to help them get the most from this tool. So today I'm going to share with you quite a number of the key benefits of Sales Navigator and help you understand the platform and get more from it. And there's quite a few updates recently that I'll be sharing with you that are quite exciting, and some real benefits now that this platform is providing for anybody who's in the sales and marketing world. So I think we've more or less got everybody logged in, and I'm sure there may be one or two joining us in a few minutes, but I want to get into this today and I want to share a whole load of stuff with you about Sales Navigator. I understand that this as a tool can be a really confusing platform to work on, and not a lot of people actually get it. In fact, LinkedIn, they even tell us that most people's interaction with Sales Navigator is that they take that 30-day free trial, they give it a go, but because there's no training, there's no real, what do I do with this tool? How do I get the best from it? That sort of training behind it. Most people finish the 30 days, don't see the benefit, and then don't continue with their subscription. Well, today I'm going to show you the benefits and you'll understand. So let me dive in and just start talking about some of the things. The first thing that I want to tell you is that Sales Navigator isn't just a single platform. There is actually 3 different packages inside of Sales Navigator. The first one that you'll be seeing is the core. Now, core is the basic one. That's all the advanced search functions that you'll find, and a few other bells and whistles that you'll find on there. Then there's the advanced. Now the advanced starts to make Sales Navigator really, really interesting, and that's actually the version that I will be demonstrating and doing the presentation on today. There's then Advanced Plus. Basic Advanced Plus is the CRM connected to Sales Navigator. It pulls all the information in and has a two-way conversation between CRM and platform. So that's where we're going to start today. So I want to just talk to you about some of the key benefits of Sales Navigator. Now remember, I am talking about Sales Navigator Advanced, not the core. And so some of the things that I'm talking about, if you're on core, you may not be seeing at the moment. But look, I'm going to encourage you, pay the extra few pounds and get the advanced. You'll understand later what the benefits are, and it far outweighs any extra cost that you will pay between advanced and core. So the first thing is, on all of the Sales Navigator packages, you've got the advanced search, the ability to go far beyond anything you can do on LinkedIn.com. LinkedIn.com search options are very limited. But inside of Sales Navigator, you can really narrow your searches right down, be really focused and really targeted in who you want to reach. Beyond that, you've then got a lot of information about companies, what's happening in their departments, where's their growth going on, any funding that they've received, news about it. You'll get up-to-date information about the company, what's happening inside of it. All of that comes very interesting and very useful when you're starting to engage people in conversation and understand where the company is at. And that will help you pitch in whatever it is, your sales, your products, your services that you have to sell. There's in-mail messaging. If you've not come across in-mail messaging, basically it gives you the ability to message an individual before they are a first degree connection. Now, we all know that when we connect with somebody on LinkedIn, we suddenly can do the whole direct messaging. All the DMs can go backwards and forwards. Until you're connected, that doesn't normally happen unless they have something called open network, which is a function inside of linkedin.com. But in-mail means I can message somebody, I can get their attention, I can even initiate a conversation even before we're connected. So that's really advantage. You actually have 50 of those in your allowance every month. And if you have them, I encourage you to use them. There's account and lead tracking. This ability to create a list of people that you can then track what they are doing on LinkedIn. You can track what is happening inside of the company, news and updates. And I'm going to show you all of that and how the homepage on Sales Navigator is a huge time saver. Then there's buyer intent. Buyer intent is only available on Sales Navigator Advanced and Advanced Plus, but buyer intent is such an incredible tool and enables you to spend your time focusing on the people who are already aware of who you are and are potentially interested in what you do. So there's none of this cold calling, there's none of this cold outreach at the beginning. You're dealing with people who already know who you are. Some of them may be already following your company page, already engaging with your profile, and Sales Navigator will tell you who those people are. And I'll show you that later, how that works, what that looks like. Then there's something called Smart Links. Smart Links is a great tool. It's effectively a tracking tool. You can put different assets inside of this, like a landing page, and then you can monitor and track who is engaging with that information, how long they spend on that information, how long did they spend watching a video, how long did they spend even looking at individual pages in, let's say, your PDF brochure or your product brochure that you might have sent to them. And I'm going to walk you through some of these today and show you how this can save time, help you focus your activity across LinkedIn and through Sales Navigator, and we'll have a look at that. So let's look into it. So the thing about Sales Navigator is that it is a tool that is there to benefit you and help you in an existing process. Now, this is the key thing. You can't look at it as just the standalone thing that's going to help transform your business. It has to be part of a process. What's on screen at the moment is finding we call it the 7 steps of social selling. And the first couple of steps in there is finding the right leads and then tracking those leads. And that's where Sales Navigator comes into play, right at the beginning of your process. There's a whole process that runs right through. And if you want to know more about the 7 steps of social selling, then get in touch with us. We'll be more than happy to share that information with you. But I'm going to be looking just at the first 2 steps. Step 1 is finding the right audience. You want the ability to be able to really laser focus in and find the right people, the decision makers inside of the right companies who are looking maybe at you already, and have conversations with those people rather than do the scattergun approach that I see so often on LinkedIn, where people are just randomly sending out connection requests, hoping to get a conversation with somebody who might potentially be interested. Look, Sales Navigator will help you get to the right people at the right time. Then once you've found that crowd, is tracking them. Understanding what they're up to, understanding what they're doing, what is the conversations they're involved in, where are they looking, what are they interested in, what's happening inside of the company, news about them, releases, new appointments within the company, new product releases, all of these sort of things that help you in your relationship building with the individuals that you want to talk to and do business with. So I'm going to come back to this, but what I want to do now is just dive into Sales Navigator itself. And I want to walk you through, literally just give you a walkthrough of what it looks like, some of the key features. And we're going to start here on the homepage. Now, if you've never used Sales Navigator before, let me just point out some of the obvious things. The first thing is right at the top here, we've got the homepage, which is what we're sitting on at the moment. Then we've got accounts and leads. Accounts are companies, leads are individuals. So remember that. Accounts are companies, leads are individuals. Smart links, which I'll come towards at the end, but then you've got your messaging. Now, this is key to understand, is that there's 2 sets of messaging around LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. The one that sits inside of LinkedIn.com and the one that sits inside of Sales Navigator. Now, there is no getting away from this. It can get a little bit frustrating with the messaging around LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, because I can send a message to somebody from Sales Navigator, but if they don't have Sales Navigator, their message response comes back to LinkedIn.com. So I have to remember to look at linkedin.com to see if they've responded. Sales Navigator will tell me, but I still have to click through to see it. So it is one of the frustrating things, but at least you can track that activity and see what's going on. So let's have a look. Right, your homepage. Your homepage is so different to the homepage you see on LinkedIn.com. LinkedIn.com will show you everything and anything in that content feed. You're going to see a lot of irrelevant content, to be honest, because it's fed to you by who's in your network, who you've been connecting with recently, and what it thinks LinkedIn thinks you might be interested in. And my own experience, a lot of that information is irrelevant. But on Sales Navigator, what I see in my feed is only information about people I've saved as accounts or leads. That's all I'm seeing. So I can even go further, which is at the top, I've got a set of filters now, and I can pick off a specific list of people. Let me just tick one at random here. And you can see in here that it's telling me all of the people that are posting content, a lot of them posting, and I can filter that down to anybody in this group had a job change, nobody in the job change, and that's key to know. Imagine you're doing business with somebody and you're halfway through doing the contract and the deal, but that person then jumps ship to another company. You want to know who's taken their role, who do you need to pick up the conversation with, and the fact that they've actually left. You'll find that out through Sales Navigator. It will actually update you as they update their profile. You will be alerted through that. Let me come through lead engagement. Lead engagements. Let me choose another list just because this list is not showing me many great examples. I'm going to go to this one. So lead engagements. These are people who have accepted connection requests, viewed your profile, opened in-mails. Sales Navigator is going to tell you who they are, so you know who to be interacting with as it's happening live, and you'll get that information there. So I got a few there. Go back to anybody who's had career changes in there. Oh, again, there's still no examples on that one. Lead shares, effectively, what are they posting? It could be articles, could be general LinkedIn posts, but it will tell you that it's there. Now, one of the big time savers is this, that I can interact with these people I don't have to leave Sales Navigator and go to LinkedIn.com. I click view, and straight away it's going to bring up the post for me. I can read through the post, see what it's all about, give it a like, and then I could drop in my comment if I wanted to. And I can do that and run all the way down there. I can even go as far as if I've got a bunch, now I do this each day, is I'll pick off my lead that I'm interacting with, the people I'm prospecting, and I'll go back 24 hours. Let me just go back where we are, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. There's only this person here. But if I had, let's say, 10 or 20 people had posted in this list today, and I'm thinking, wow, I've got a busy day, I haven't got time to get through them all, but I don't want to miss the opportunity to engage with them and create some awareness with these people, I can use this function here, which is called bookmarking, and that creates a list for me that I can come back to. Even the following day, as the information on the screen will update and change, I've already bookmarked these people to say, like, don't forget to go back and interact with that post that they put out. Once I've done that, I just unbookmark, and then we're back. So this is going to show you a lot of information. You can do the same with leads, you can do the same with accounts, is you can actually pick off specific lists and then actually break it down into what do I want to look at in each of those lists. So big time saver. Also on Sales Navigator, at the top, you've got something called Book of Business. This is just the ability to upload contact information into Sales Navigator and create a list that you can then work on. So this might be data that you've got in your CRM of existing or previous clients. You can upload that into here, and if I just go down, upload there, it'll give you a template, how to structure the information and the data going in. Once it's in there, you can upload, and you can actually upload 1,000 lines of data in there. So 1,000 people from your CRM, or if you've got a really big prospecting list, let's say, then you could upload those in. And what it will do is once it's in, it will create a list for you and park that here in your lead list, and then you can work down that to actually start engaging with people. This is really useful for really boosting your network quite quickly. particularly if it's information from your CRM, which are their previous or current clients. Of course, these people will know you and are more likely to connect with you and will find you. You upload that information. It basically runs around the platform and matches the first name, last name, email address, company name, website URLs, all of that. It matches up and it brings back those matches to you and says, basically, here's your list of people who are represented on LinkedIn. Underneath that, you've got personas. Now, personas are a big time saver in the fact that I can create default search criteria. These are the sort of people. Now, I actually have two. Let me just go into one of them here. And so I can choose the function that somebody has inside of the business, the seniority level. So I'm looking at decision makers, top level people. I could put in there as well the current job title and then geography. So I can put this criterion and this sets and basically tell Sales Navigator, this is who I'm interested in talking to. This is who I'm interested in finding. And you can set up various personas for various things. It comes in very handy when you're doing your searches because you can click on persona and already go straight to 3 or 4 different criteria and then play with other functions and features to actually nail down and get a really tight list of people that you want to connect with. So if you're new to it, I would encourage you, set up your personas. One of the other things that happens with personas is that it educates Sales Navigator who you are most likely to want to connect with, the sort of companies, the people that you like to get in touch with. And that means that if I go up to my accounts and I go into discover accounts, so LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, they're feeding me suggestions of companies similar to the ones that I've searched for in the past, similar size, industry sector that they're in, and it will actually feed them to me. And I've actually got list after list after list. There's actually 40 pages here of companies that are just listed. So I'm never going to be short of companies that I can add into my pipeline and then actually approach. LinkedIn's going to do a lot of the work for me through Sales Navigator to provide me with contact data all the time, new people I can push through my pipeline so I'll never run dry. I'm going to show you how that works as well, as how LinkedIn keeps suggesting and suggesting and suggesting as we go. So let's have a look at how we put a search together. And I'm going to show you a best practice of way of using it. We always encourage people to start looking for the types of companies you want to work with, then look for the right people inside of that company. And the reason for that is you have to understand how the categorization works inside of LinkedIn. And most of that is dictated to by the person that is actually setting up their profile. A good example of that is, let's take finance directors. If I wanted to find finance directors inside of manufacturing, I could go straight to the lead search looking for individuals, put in finance directors and manufacturing as the industry sector and find all of those people. But there's a problem with that because depends how the finance director set up his profile. If he's listed himself as financial director in the finance industry, because that relates to his actual role rather than the sector he's working in, I will miss out on a bunch of people who are actually finance directors listed as financial sector but are working in the manufacturing. So start with the companies, then look for the right people inside of the companies and you will always get the full list of potential people. So let me go to account filters. So like we said earlier, unlike LinkedIn.com, the options that are open to you inside of Sales Navigator are far, far better. And we've got a number of filters here that we can play around with. So I'm going to start with where the headquarters are. And I'm just going to go for United Kingdom to start with. And it's going to bring up over 6 million companies registered here in the UK. Headcount, well, I'm going to go for the mid-range. So I'll go for the 50 to 500. We've got 40,000. Now, I'll start looking at industry. For this example, I'll look for, let's use one I don't normally use. Let's go for technology and let's see what we've got on that one. We've got 2,500 companies now. So I'm starting to narrow down who it is. Now I could be looking at what is their annual revenue. I'll just change that into pounds. And I want anybody who is 5 million up to, let's go 100 million and add that one. So I've got 1,500 companies now. So I'm looking down, I can see the sort of companies that I've got in there, and I can be playing around with that. Now, I can start to drill down and look in. So let's say I want to provide marketing services to a company. What I could be looking at for is their department headcount. Let's have a look how many people they have in the marketing. Some mid-sized companies that have been growing fast may only have small marketing teams and actually need additional support. So, okay, let's go for 1, 2, maybe 5. So now I've got 1,000 in there. In fact, I'm going to change that and let's bring that down to just 3 and let's see how many. 714. These are mid-sized companies, so they're serious ongoing concerns as a businesses, but there's only up to 3 people in their marketing listed. So there's a potential that I could provide my services in there, help support them as they're growing in what they're doing. Now, I could look into here, company headcount growth. I'm looking for companies who are fast growing. So I'm looking for growth between 10 to 50%. And you can play around with these figures depending on your criteria, who you're looking for. And so I've got 179 there, and I can be looking for different things. Now, there's a great function at the bottom here, depending what your product or service is that you're providing. If you potentially are looking to replace an existing provider, and you know what that technology is, then you can actually look it up here. I did this very recently with a web development company, and they were looking to provide a better service than customers are getting with what's called a Wix website. And so I actually showed them that you can put in Wix and it will actually come up with all of the things. So they now have a list of companies who they know are using the Wix software, and they are a direct competitor, so they can target these companies and look to replace the existing provider. And so looking in there, I've actually got 5 in there. So I'm going to use this just as my example today. You can play around with this. There's so many different options in here to look at, but it's well worth just looking at the options, particularly if you're providing a platform or some sort of software that will actually replace an existing supplier. One of the other things that you can play with before I go anywhere is in connection. I can actually now see, do I have any connections? Let me just click. Obviously this is against my network. In fact, let me just take off the technology. I'm just looking to see. No, there aren't any. There aren't any in there. So I could look to see if I had any first degrees inside of those companies already. Of course, that's an advantage to know, because I could have already had a conversation, already developed a relationship with an individual inside that company. And so, of course, that's a big stepping stone into getting the conversations that I'm after. Let me go back just to my example. Right. Once I've got these these companies listed, I'm going to do 2 things. The first thing is I'm going to save the search. And I do that at the top. I click Save Search. And if I click into here, there it is. It's come up there. I can change that to whatever I want it to be. And let me try it. Demo saved search accounts. And so I put that in there. So now I've got that. Now I will get alerts from Sales Navigator about any of the companies that I've just saved in there. Now what I've just saved is dynamic, because companies will meet that criteria and be added to that list, or they will drop away. If I go and look at my saved searches that I've done previously, if I look down here, some demos that I've done, there's 2 new results since I was last there, which was just a couple of weeks ago. There's 23 new results here from the 7th of November. So it's feeding me new companies. They're now meeting the criteria that I've set. So again, I only have to do this save search once on companies. And LinkedIn and Sales Navigator is going to keep feeding me the new companies that meet that criteria that would be interesting to me. So I don't need to have to do any extra work. Now, once I've got that save search done, and normally what I would do with a company search or the account search is I'd be looking for anywhere up to 100 companies. And out of that list of 100, I would cherry pick out around about 20 companies. Normally companies that I've heard of, I've got some knowledge about, I'd start there, and then I'd create a list. Now, the saved search and the saved list are different. Saved search, as I already explained, is dynamic. Companies will go in and out according to how they meet the criteria you set. But a saved search is a static list of companies that you've picked, and it will only change if you add people in or take people out. So to do that, in this case, I've only got 5, so I select all. Just be aware, one of the annoying things on Sales Navigator is that if I'd had 30 companies here, it would go into a second page. To save them all, I can't just do click and save all. I have to go click, save on that page, go to the next page, click and save them as well. And that becomes a little bit irritating, but it's something that we have to deal with at the moment. So I click the ones that I want to save. I click save to a list. I create a new list, and then I'll just put demo account list. And I save that there. So now I've got that saved. Now that I've found the companies that I want to work with, I've got to find the right people inside of those companies so I can start a conversation and hopefully get to do my sales pitch. Now it will default across and bring the criteria in for you. But what I'm going to do just for demonstration is clear that, see all filters, because I want to show you that at any point you can come here. If I go to my account lists and I look for, there's my demo account list, I include there, I can pick that off. I could do this across multiple lists if I wanted to, but I'm just using this one as the example today. And what it's just done is looked right across LinkedIn to find any individuals who are registered on LinkedIn as users but are connected to these companies. And so now I have a list of 502 individuals. Now, of course, just because we set the headquarters here in the UK doesn't mean that the person themselves lives in the UK. They could be in the States, they could be somewhere in Europe. So I would generally encourage you to start, when you're looking for individuals, start with the geography and narrow it right down. So let's make sure that we're talking to the right people. And so we've got United Kingdom. So already I'm down to 340 individuals. Now, of course, it searched everybody right across the platform who works at this company. So I'm going to have everybody from the receptionist right up to the CEOs. So there's a certain caliber of people that I want to talk to, generally the decision makers. And so now I start to look into the role and their seniority. So if I go into seniority, I'm probably, for me, I would be looking at the directors, the C-suite people, partner owners. It depends on the size of the organizations that you're looking at. Obviously, the bigger the organization, the decision maker you want to talk to will probably be lower down. That they're probably not the owner or partner in the business. They may not even be the director, particularly be somebody underneath them who are heading up teams, heading up departments, head of sales, head of marketing, something like that. So know and understand who it is as the decision maker inside of the companies or the size of the companies, and that's who you're selecting. This one I'm going to go for the top level. In here, it's now giving me 66 results on that front. Now, I want as well a particular type of people. Just because they're senior people in the business doesn't mean that they'd be interested in a conversation with me. So I'm going to pick off the people who are in business development, the people in the sales, and anybody who's in the marketing. And I would probably add in one other one, which is quite a new one, which is, when I can find it, there's a strategy one now. Where's it gone? Oh, seems to have disappeared again. This is one of the things you'll find out with LinkedIn, they keep making changes. So, business development, sales and marketing, I've got 30 individuals. That's a good list for me. I'm quite happy with that. I can have a look down now, got business development, start taking a look, all the different people in the companies that I'm looking at, all good to me. And if I scroll down to the bottom, there you can see, we go to a second page, and we've got all those people there. So, just like I did with the account, I'm going to now save this lead search. And so again, similar thing, just click at the top, give it there, and that has now appeared in there. I'm just going to change the name so I remember what it's about. So the demo lead search, and I've saved it. Now again, this lead search is dynamic in the fact that people are going to drop in and out. So if somebody changes job, gets promoted, leaves the company, people are going to be moving around in here. And so just like the accounts, LinkedIn will keep you up to date and keep suggesting new people that are meeting the criteria of your list. As you can see there, Northeast, self-employed, 146 people since the 17th of November. I'm being fed new contacts all the time. Keep my pipeline fresh, keep it topped up with good people who meet the criteria that I've set. And so I've now got those people. So just like with the accounts, with your leads, you then want to save them to a list. Now, the bigger the list, again, you're going to cherry pick out a bunch of people. If I had 200 people in this list, I'm not going to save a list of 200 and start working through that. It's just too big a list. Generally, I work with anywhere up to 50 individuals at a time. I can process that through over a week. In this case, I'm going to take the top 25 here, save them just as we did in the other examples. And there we go. So now I've got all that information in place. So this is where it starts getting interesting. Because when I go to my lead list now, I've got all the people listed here, and I can start working down there in this list, looking to start engaging with them. I would encourage you, go and find out a little bit about them, do a little bit of research, visit their profile. While you're there, hit the follow button. While you're there, like a bit of content that they've been posting. You can come back the next day and you can look and see if they posted again, start leaving comments. Do that, then send connection requests. If you create some awareness first, you will benefit by getting a higher rate of connection requests being accepted over ignored. You'll notice at the top as well, we've got some subcategories. Now, one of them is posted in the last 30 days. If I can pick off that, you can actually do this in the list as well. If I go back to the list, you can actually filter. Let me just go one step back to our saved list. Sorry. Come on. Go back into our saved list here. That we actually have, in these recent updates, people who've changed jobs, people who've posted on LinkedIn. In this example, there's 8 of them. That just gives me an indication that these people are active on the platform, and they're probably a group of people I would start prospecting first, because they are the people I'm most likely to get a conversation with, rather than chasing the other people who are not posting content and may not have been near the platform for months. That's one of the things you need to figure out, and Sales Navigator will help you figure that out. So one of the other things, and this is what I want to point out, I'm just going to clear this. I can now filter by buyer intent. Now, I mentioned this earlier. This is a huge time saver. So I've just clicked in there. Account has buyer intent. In other words, the company that people work for have been looking at our company and potentially at profiles of people inside of our company. And it's telling me there's actually 6 million people across LinkedIn that have done that in the last 30 days. This is also a good figure to give you a benchmark of your reach, potential reach across the platform. So I've got account search here, and then, so how many of those are actually my first degree connections? 960 individuals who are already my first degree connections, know about our company, they've been visiting our company page. So let me take one as an example, Benjamin here at the top. I'm going to go and have a look at his profile. So we look here, and it's telling me there the account has moderate intent. So I can see those activities. It'll take me over to the company, and here we go. So it's moderate. If they're showing up as moderate, it's 1 or 2 individuals from that company have been doing some activity towards your company. Here it's telling me that employees of this company are actively engaging with MAVERRIK's company page. That's good news. 1 to 2 people have done that. And again, a second one, employees of this company are viewing the profiles of MAVERRIK's employees. So this is good news. If I can get it to where they're high, let me just find an example of somebody who's actually high intent, just to show you the difference. Let me pick off one of these as an example. I don't know who Rise Technical are, so let's use them as an example. Let's see if they're a good example. Yeah, okay. So they're high intent. High intent is 3 or more individuals are visiting your company page, 3 or more individuals from that company are visiting the profiles of people inside your company. So this is good. There's actually a third one, and there's a widget or a piece of coding that you can attach to your website that gives LinkedIn the ability to backtrack information when they click through from your profile or from your company page to your website. And this becomes very valuable information. You know who's looking at your company page, who's looking at company profiles, and who's looking at your website. If all 3 are present, you know you've got somebody who's interested in who you are and what you do, and they're high intent. It'll even give you a month-on-month rating. Is their intent towards you increasing or decreasing? And so you can keep a monitor on that. This is important information because now I can create lists based around the buyer intent, based around people who are already aware of who I am, who our company is, and potentially our products and services. Meaning that in the buyer journey, I'm cutting out the early steps of going in cold, introducing ourselves, trying to get conversation. I'm already talking to people who are aware of who we are and potentially our products and services. This is just speeding up the whole buyer journey. And so this becomes really, really key information. Let me just go back to the leads. I'm just conscious of time in here. So as I said, with your list here, one of the things I would encourage you to do is the tracking side. As I'm going through, I want to keep a track of what I'm doing with these people. So if I take Grant Fraser here, quick look at his profile. Let's have a look at him. So have a look, no header image there. Let's have a look. Recent activity was a week ago. He was posting he was commenting on a post. So he's around the platform maybe once or twice a week at best. So that gives me an idea of his activity. He's here, and if I look to reach out and connect with him, I can do. You'll also notice that there's something called timeline now. If I give you a better example of one of my colleagues I normally use, here he is. The timeline is very valuable because it will give you information about your interactions or the interactions between the 2 people. And so I connected with Vasco back in 2018. He opened a smart link, which I'll come to in just a minute. A smart link, added a note about him. And so I can click any of these and it'll take me straight to that information. So I've got almost my mini CRM now working inside of Sales Navigator. It keeps me up to date, where I've been, how I'm interacting with the people. And so I can keep. Now, all of that information is dependent upon me, or not all of it, but a large part of it is me adding notes in here. So I can add my notes in and just say, let's just get rid of Grammarly for a second there. Sent a connection request. Done. I do that. It's all done. It's date stamped when that happened. I come back. I know exactly where I'm at with Grant. I've sent him the connection request. When did I send it to him? I sent it on the 29th of November. So I'm measuring what I'm doing and my expectations with him. You need to track it through. Just walk through. Got your crowd of people that you want to have conversations with. Go warm them up. Interact with their profile. Start then sending your connection requests out and then look to engage them in conversation. Once you're in conversation, there is a useful tool called Smart Links. Now, Smart Links just gives you the ability to group URLs and other assets together in one place, and then you can track the interaction people have with it. So I'll use this one at the top here. This is how to make a great LinkedIn profile. It's actually a smart link, which is a follow-up to a webinar that I do. So if I click in here, I start to get lots of information. Let me show you what it looks like for the individual landing on the page. So they get this landing page, which has the slides, and they can start looking through the slides. They've got the replay of the actual webinar. They've got a link to set up a call. They could have a free profile review, and then a link through to our website. So 4 links in there. Now, if I was to put all of these links inside of, say, a LinkedIn post, or even inside of my messaging, it's something that LinkedIn doesn't like when lots of URLs and links to things are included in messaging and posting. Putting them inside of a smart link means there's just one link, and because it's www.linkedin.com and it sits within their domain, the algorithm treats it very, very differently and allows it to run across the platform. Now, the benefits of it is it tracks every time somebody comes and views the assets that are in there. So I've got Dave Moore here, has been backwards and forwards, Kevin Watson, you can see Kevin again, Lisa, people coming backwards and forwards to this. But then it goes even better. So if I take, let's take Dave at the top here, 15 seconds, what did he do? He spent 12 seconds looking at the slides from this webinar, and he viewed the call link to actually set up a call. Now I can go and have a look at my diary and see, did he ever set up a call? But I can also see here, the 12 seconds, he spent 12 seconds looking at page 1. Let me find a better example than that. Orlando here. Orlando spent 8 minutes, and I'm getting now a breakdown of how Orlando spent time looking at this slide deck. Imagine this is your company brochure, your product brochure. You now have information of what catches their attention. Where do they invest more time just slowing down, reading, taking in the information because it's more interesting to them. That was something about it, a benefit about that they took interest in. I normally know if I'm going down here, here we go, page 12, 13, 14, the time generally increases because I know what's on those pages, the information that's available. People stop and take in that information and they'll use it. And so now I know what the person is actually interested in. That becomes very valuable to me because now I can frame my conversation as I approach them to try and get the sales conversation going. And so you can work down here. It will show you, I'll just see if there's anybody who's watched the video. Someone's viewed the webcast there. And so you can be using this. You're putting these into conversation. You get into conversation with somebody and say, hey, look, we've got our company brochure. I can send that across to you. It's packed with information. We all know what it's like. Someone says, hey, can I send this to you? And they send it to you. Will they read it? Most times they don't. It gets parked. It's most people on LinkedIn, like other platforms, are just being polite. Yeah, send it across. I'll take a look. But they never do. With this tool, you can check, did they even open it? How long did they spend looking at it? And now you can measure, engage their intention towards you. So if you think about this with Sales Navigator, I've got the ability to build lists, and if I use buyer intent, I can frame those lists around people who are already interested in who we are and what we do. So that rules out the first few steps in our buyer journey, and I can jump in where it's much warmer. Then I can track interactions through things like smart links and through what's happening on the homepage, all the information I'm being fed, so that I can spend most of my sales activity and marketing activity around a group of people who are interested in who we are, interested in our products and services, and that will increase the opportunities you have for sales calls because you spend most of your time. Most people in sales will tell you it's getting to the point where I can get the conversation going. So it's that cold start, introduce yourself, try and get the conversation. Sales Navigator is going to help you shortcut that process and jump in where they're already warmed up and they're already aware of you. So I'm going to be honest with you. There's so much more I could tell you about Sales Navigator, and there's so much more we could go into talking about the process and how it can all work and run through, but we've only got an hour today. Look, if you want some more information about this, please just reach out and get in touch with us, contact the team at Oxlep, and we'll be more than happy to help. So I hope you've enjoyed the session today, and I hope you've got a lot from it and you have a better understanding now of Sales Navigator. So thank you for joining us, and if I haven't managed to get to any of the questions or our team haven't got to the questions, then don't worry, we'll try and reach out and answer those for you. Thank you for joining us today.
We'd like to invite you to visit Oxlep's website. The address is on screen at the moment, and on it you're going to find great help for your business. It's got this amazing tool there that it's called the Oxlep Business Support Tool. And the great thing about this tool is that it's going to help your business find the appropriate support and events to help you and your business succeed. It just takes about 7 minutes to fill in, and you will find out what Oxlep can do for you.